This year, we're focusing on governance, because despite the increase in many places in the role of civil society or the private sector, the NGO community, and the international financial institutions, there's still that strong need for women's leadership inside the system. And so we've gathered women leaders from Colombia, Iran, Nepal, Sudan, and Uganda.
We can only improve the situation if we begin to understand each other better. We can only improve it if we acknowledge the grievance, fears, and concerns on both sides. We can only improve it if we respect each other and are willing to sit and talk. As women, we are doing this even here today. Our governments need to do the same.
Swani often likes to talk about what she calls the aha moments, the moments where you see something or hear something that truly changes your life and moves you off into a different direction. And I just thought I'd mention very quickly my aha moment when it comes to gender issues. I had been at the National Security Council working on African issues, and I helped negotiate, or actually provided support for the negotiators of the Angolan peace process. And I was very proud that that agreement was gender neutral. And I remember once being asked about it, and I said, not a single provision in this agreement is discriminatory against women. And then President Clinton, in his dubious wisdom, appointed me as ambassador to Angola, and I went out to try to implement that agreement. And it took me all of about 2 weeks to realize that gender neutral means discriminatory against women. We looked at, for example, the provisions on amnesty, and we had provided 13 separate amnesties forgiving UNITA and the government for anything that they had ever done. There was even one provision that forgave them for things they might do in the future, which was very bizarre. What we soon realized what this meant was that men with guns were forgiving other men with guns for crimes against women. And it undercut the credibility of rule of law in the post-conflict period. We proceeded to demobilize soldiers and send them back to their homes. What we hadn't focused on was that the homes that they were going back to had been learning to live without the men for many, many years. And as the men came back, they had no roles in the societies that they were returning to. And so our great programs to demobilize soldiers resulted in domestic violence, wife beating, alcoholism, drug abuse, and many, many, many cases of actual murder. And what we realized is that unless you have provisions that are going to assist individuals to deal with the gender issues as they return to their homes, you're failing the process.
In Colombia, the majority of the victims in our conflict are women. For example, 80% of the displacement people are women and children. And their husbands are assassinated in the conflict. And we need a voice that can claim for their rights, meaning that women's rights are human rights. And we need a voice that can claim for their necessities. And we need a voice that can tell the world what is happening to them. And I can be their voice.
At this point of time, what the Nepalese women want is, as the parliament has started to become inclusive, participatory, not excluding anyone, considering taking into account the linguistic, ethnic, geographical diversities of the country. So now, at this moment, Nepalese women and even the Nepalese people, they want to see more women in government.
The mobilization of women for peace is so important that all the women parliamentarians feel that they should all be there in their district to make sure that the participation of women is realized and is promoted. The men need us to be there. We have two eyes. If we decide to put one only, then it doesn't work well. Let the two eyes work, a woman and a man to be together.
There is some prototype or something about the ideal woman, the complete woman, of being beautiful, of being tender, of being soft, and of being loving. Okay, yes, I agree. These are characteristics of women. But being beautiful doesn't mean being stupid. And being soft doesn't mean being weak. Nor being tender means having no will. And of course, being loving is at all doesn't mean not having the determination or the courage.